show, I think I mention all the time, is being streamed on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So right now, I really have, I'm privileged to have such a special stroke survivor with a very inspiring story. So let's all welcome our guest, Teresa Lynn Santee. Bring her up right now and she'll come up.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fabulous.
Yoo-hoo. I appreciate you being here today.
Well, it's good to be here.
Yeah, I totally understand. Now you had your stroke. It's a little different circumstances than the normal stroke. I mean, so first we'll just say how, I don't know if you could, let me bring up some comments here. They're already coming in. Can you see those?
I can't, but as I
No.
told you, I'm having trouble with glasses and my sight. So it's all kind of blurry. So I don't be able to read all comments or not. I'll try.
No worries. I'll just, Donald King's here.
Donald?
Donald, yep. And then Annette. Templa.
Oh.
Thanks for being here. Let's see. And Delia.
Hello.
She says good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Looking forward to the show. Awesome. And then Kara is Kara.
Hello, Kara.
Yeah, Kara Beth Starr is sorry, Kara. She's my daughter, Cassie, is married to her brother. So thank you for being here. And then Deb, good morning.
Good morning, Deb.
And Paul, good morning, Teresa.
Hello, Paul.
Yeah, this is a different Paul. And Salud. There's several Pauls out there. And then Salud, nice to see you. Aloha, Jerry, hello. Wald, and Teresa.
Hello.
And then Lynn. She said good morning to both of us. And Mike Peters from South Wales. I'm just going to go through these and then we'll get going here. From South Wales, United Kingdom.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then Jana from Canada. She's here. Yeah, and then Lynn is from Pennsylvania. And then Sherry. Good morning, Texas. So I'm so glad that you're able to come on here. I know we've talked about this for a long time, so now you're ready to kind of tell your story. So maybe we could start, Teresa, with just introducing yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Santee. I am 54 years old. I live in northeast of Spokane, Washington. I live in northeastern Washington. I was born and raised in western Washington. Grew up in a suburb of Seattle. Got married, and in my early 20s, mid 20s, started family, moved to Eastern Washington, continued growing my family, sold real estate at the time when I moved here. I've done various professions, and the one in particular that was a passion of mine was working front desk of a hospital. Reception, lobby, switchboard, registration, the entry point for the patient care experience.
Right, and there's your I put your certificate up there.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, that was actually, I received that. It took me about 3 years to obtain that certification, and then I took the test and had all the requirements for taking that test. And then as a certified healthcare access manager. And then what happened, that was in April of 2010. And I had my stroke in June of 2010. So truly it was, the certification was good for 2 years. And I was not able to, of course, continue my profession. That kind of all fell apart. But I'm very proud of the work that I did when I was in that profession for almost 15 years.
Wow. So. But yeah, and your story, I mean, you really didn't know, or the doctors didn't really tell you that you had a stroke for 2 years or something.
Well, it didn't present. I was young. I was 44. I had
Right.
a job, uh, kids in high school, um, busy life, busy husband, family, everything that goes with that. Hospital business, healthcare business, front desk business is not easy.
Right.
Um, it's a tough job. And so, yes, I was in a meeting, and there's details to that. I don't like to relive all of that over and over, all the details. But what I did, instead of um, seeking any or thinking myself that there was anything wrong, I picture tubed. I call it picture tubed. It's when your sight goes to a pinpoint, kind of like the old televisions.
Right.
Okay, the old televisions that you turn off and on. When you go to turn those off, there's a picture tube and a small dot. Um, so that's what happened to me. It's like I funneled like that into that small dot 3 times, and I got nauseated. There was pain. I couldn't really describe. There was equilibrium. I was moving. It was kind of like I was on a boat.
Right.
I didn't understand. I thought maybe I was having a blood sugar. I was just like, I don't know. Um, I ended up just kind of like leaving the room, and I headed outside. I thought maybe I needed fresh air. I needed more than fresh air.
Yeah, obviously.
But I just kept working. My speed was everything for me, because mine was an brainstem stroke in the pons portion of my brainstem, which is about the size of your thumb. And that's where my stroke was in the very center of my brain. It's where everything goes from the left to the right. It controls breathing. As my doctor told me at that time, it controls everything important. But
Wow.
what basically, I thought it was stress, thought it was anxiety, thought it was depression, thought, many, many things. And the treatment line was going down that path. And then I started having pain in this side of my face. And I mean, it was like bringing you to your knees kind of pain, issue.
You were working at that time. You were working.
I was working, yes.
Yeah, because Lynette Price right here, she just says, I was 45 when I had my aneurysm and first strokes, 33 when I became disabled from brain surgery. So
Mhm.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nope. Now I got to think, where did I?
Oh, I forgot about the we talked about this yesterday. Yeah. So the pain was so yeah the
Okay.
pain was so hard to deal with. It could
Yes.
bring you to your knees.
I called my dentist, and I said, I need an emergency dental visit like in an hour. And, they were very gracious and got me in, and I had the x-rays and all that. And they said, well, there's nothing, Teresa, nothing. We don't see anything that would cause you do need a root canal. However, there's nothing. And I never had a cavity or anything like that. I've never had serious dental work done or anything. So I, of course, started to cry, and I was like, well, what is it? What is this? So then, of course, I headed to my doctor, and I said something is seriously wrong. And I went the next day. They scheduled me for MRI, 2 hours with the dye, the tube that you have to, so if you're claustrophobic at all, you have to take medicine to go into the machine. And so had all of those tests, and then that was 2.5 years later. Um, I had a series in that 2.5 years. I also had a series of mini strokes from the pictures and the MRIs and what my neurologist told me. He wouldn't tell me exactly how many, but
Wow.
it was over 3.
Wow. Because Lynette here, she said 7 of 8 of her strokes were brainstem strokes. So she's had 8 strokes.
Ooh, yowza. Yeah, it's not fun. None of fun at all.
So that's when they found out you had
So
a stroke.
out, and I got by the time I had gotten home, I had a phone call, found something, and I was very thankful.
Yeah.
That on a whole new trajectory. But I was with a neurologist within a week, and that was my neurologist, and then there was a whole nother set of tests, pictures, MRIs, CT scans. I mean, my brain has been dissected this way, um, dye, without dye, nighttime, daytime,
Yes.
a bit. And so, hold on just a second. And this was what.
Oh, I know. We talked about it yesterday. How we.
I'll get it back.
Oh yeah, I know you will. Exactly. If I don't talk.
So, yes, my husband and I went to the neurologist, and I didn't really have any comprehension still. And he says, well, it appears as if you have had, and this was after all of his tests, it appears as if you've had a stroke, a small one. That terminology is in my chart. A
Yeah.
small stroke in the brainstem. That and of course that and I don't mean to diminish anything, but the brainstem is really small, and it's the brain. So I lost it again.
Yeah. Totally understand. Total understanding. And I know that.
Thoughts drop.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. No, I know that feeling. That we talked yesterday, and I said that.
So they give you medication at that point in time. I mean, the actual all the medication that I had saved my life. That's what my neurologist said. Things may have not been figured out initially, but they figured it out. However, here's the thing: I had 4 neurologists. One retired, then the next one retired, and then the next one took all the business from the first one and the second one. And so then you have a year before you can get into a neurologist. And then you can get into a physician assistant neurologist if you want to wait 6 months. And that's if they decide they're going to stay in practice. If they decide to get out of practice, you could have that appointment for a year. And then all of a sudden, you have to reschedule and find a whole new set of doctors.
Oh.
So that has happened. That was one of the things that I kind of fell through many cracks, not really intentionally. I wasn't able to really manage myself. Nobody could really understand that because I'm high functioning. Obviously, I can talk.
Right. But you had aphasia, didn't you?
I have aphasia, yes. But see, here's the thing with your group, your tools, your community, I was able to tap into that 2 years ago. And even though I couldn't come on and talk and do all of that, this is a result of practice.
Yes.
With the structure we need to speak again.
Yes.
To say the words. And sometimes when you talk to somebody like this, see now how I'm starting to talk?
Right. Right. I understand.
And now we're getting to the meat of things, and my words matter. I'm telling you my story, but now the words matter, and now my whole now is where you're going to see my struggle. How many minutes did it take us? Are we into 10 minutes?
14. But the funny thing is, not funny thing is, and I don't know if Salud. Do you know Salud?
I do. I've been watching them do their.
Yeah. Well, she just said, hopefully was just saying this generically instead of salute to me, but she says that's why it's important not to interrupt the person talking. I totally understand that, salute.
So let me tell you what else they found in when they were doing all the pictures, and they were looking to find, so okay, what are we going to do now? It's 2 years later. There's nothing that can be done. Damage is done. The damage is done. So now you start over again. So you start over again. How do you do that? There's no real support groups to help what's happening right now. So you all have created this for us. So now we have a place to go. I think I've streamed off now. I've squirreled, haven't I? Shiny ball. Okay. So back to the other things that were found that are all part of I didn't really understand it till I was in front of the judge at my Social Security hearing, because they have doctors, they have rehab specialists. They really want you to start working. They want you to have a job, earn a wage, and not be on Social Security. And sitting in my Social Security hearing only took 10 minutes, and I was done. My husband circled the block. He didn't even get a parking space. It was done. They had 3 experts, witnesses. There was a panel. There was a judge. I had my attorney. And then all of a sudden, people talk about you in front of you. That's an irritating thing, I think, for most of us.
Yeah.
When we're not included in the conversation. But see, we just need time to be part of the conversation. Give us 30 seconds. Okay, so with that being
No, I'm not going to interrupt.
Okay, so here's what they found with the picture. So I'm sitting, now I'm alone with my neurologist at this point in time, and a very nice man. His time with me would be a full hour and a half.
Right.
And he said, damage is done. Basically kind of make you comfortable kind of thing. So then my entire medicine routine changed. It went from a psychological, as he would say, he said, we're taking you from a psychological line of treatment or care plan, and it's physiological, because that is the problem. Now they found that I had a birth defect, and he said, so Teresa, you have an unusual brain. You have a 1% brain.
Wow.
There's only 1% of the population that has what you have. And what I had was, and he drew pictures. There's an artery that goes around the back, the bands around the back of your head, and you have small arteries that are supposed to attach to that wraps around, something like that. Anyway, the arteries that, as a fetus, my development interrupted at about 3 months. Whenever it is that's supposed to develop as a fetus, mother was carrying me. It stopped. There was as he would say, it looks to me like there was an interruption in the development as an infant.
Wow.
So my problems, when you look at my medical record, you'll see fetus. You'll see that terminology, because I have underlying issues that led to the stroke. So I have also there is a small white matter disease.
Interesting.
Find my notes. White matter disease is present. I looked that up. That's very scary. That's present. And now my grandson has some of that. So in all of this, I've had to research, Google, look it up, find the definitions. Your medical record has a lot of codes. Medical speak, you don't understand it, so you have to kind of dig. A lot of research. And in my hearing, the specialist doctor said, to me, Mrs. Santee, I am fully aware of your medical record and what has happened to you.
Wow.
There is no, because what they do is they talk about opening your head and putting a stent in
Yeah.
to fix your brain.
Yeah.
And that's the first I had ever heard of that being even a possibility. And so, of course, I can't talk. My hands are flat on the table. And I'm terrified. And I have this doctor online talking to me about my condition. And then she's saying stuff to the judge. After they had their conversation, the hearing was over, fully favorable.
That's the outcome.
Yes. You know,
Wow.
talk to me long enough. It's kind of like, okay, where's she going? What's happening? But structure, sentences, writing, physically writing A, B, C, D, E, F, G to Z backwards, capitals, lowercase, cursive, saying it, singing the alphabet, that all has help, and journaling.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that because I never liked when I went to speech therapy to have me count backwards or say the alphabet, go to Z to F. I could not do it now. I'll read some of the comments because they're really coming. Salute says, my students would raise their hands to talk, but I told them to wait so I wouldn't lose my train of thought. I mean, and she, Salute is a caregiver. There's so many comments. Here's Teresa Santee, you are doing a great job sharing your story. And Jana says, they said mine was also a birth defect, AVM. They're incredible to be able to pinpoint an interruption in your brain development. That's Salute. So you think that's what, now I'm sure this one here, Sherry Paulette Hampel, I don't know if you know her. February 2018, one stroke hemorrhagic, one stroke ischemic, one stroke I don't know aphasia. So there's a lot of these comments, and so they're relating to you. So your stroke you think was caused? I mean, probably.
I had bad habits. I was overweight. I was stressed. There was a perfect storm.
Wow.
So I believe stroke was, I had that underlying condition, and you have to have good blood flow to your brain, oxygen to your brain. You have to drink water. You have to eat properly. You have to have exercise. You have to do all of that.
Yeah.
And so I am now actually 40 pounds lighter than I had my stroke. So yeah,
you look great.
There's a lot of improvements. I wasn't able to put makeup on, so truly I have practiced. I practice every day. Some days are better than others. It takes a long time to just get dressed, to just think about getting dressed, to brush your teeth.
Yes, exactly.
And take care of yourself. And if you are caregiving children, your children become adults very early, and they end up being, unfortunately, part of people who take care of you. And that is really hard on kiddos.
Yeah, your kids you're talking about, because that's mine too. My wife and the kids had to grow up really fast because they were in high school.
Yes.
At that time, 10 years ago, like you and you just celebrated your stroke.
I did.
I can't even say it out. Stroke anniversary. You know what I mean? Yeah. So congratulations.
Thank
Celebration
you.
of life.
Thank you. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. And so did you have any times during your stroke that you were isolated, you felt isolated and depressed? Because
all the time.
I see.
Still
do.
Still do.
How do you overcome with that? What do you do to not go through that?
Wow, it takes time. it, it's hard to lose your life, still be present.
Yeah.
We lose our lives. We start over. It's from scratch. If you're at the top of your game, it is heartbreaking to not be able to do what you love.
Yes.
And it's hard for your friends and family to watch going through all the struggles. So, you don't mean to cause so much pain, but it just happens. And, yes, depression. Oh, absolutely. That's like a big, thick soup.
Yeah, it's real.
Truly, what I do is I make sure my bed is made every day,
Wow.
because if your bed isn't made, you're going to be tempted to crawl back in.
Yeah. So true. Now, Jana says, very true concept on the children. My oldest was 3 when I had mine, she said.
Oh,
Yeah. It's,
wow. I can't even imagine
yeah.
how hard. It's
Yeah.
really hard to go through. I don't know how inspiring I will be or how I feel about all of that. This is part of my therapy. I've never told my story before.
Well, it's good. Sometimes it's really good. And that's what I love doing these interviews, because I don't think I've heard one, I mean, there's similarities with stroke, but everybody has their own fingerprint. I always like to say that. So your story is different than my story. We end up with, well, for me, it was right side hemiplegic or whatever. I know I mess up words all the time. Lynette here says, yes, it's very hard to do this alone. People don't get it, I believe.
No, they really don't until they have one.
Right.
Once you've had a stroke, I mean, stroke survivors can all be in a room, not say a word, and just kind of go, mm-hmm,
Understand.
yeah. I don't have to really, and then we laugh because we're all struggling with the same thing.
Yeah. So this is for me, since I can't go to a support group because I won't because of this COVID-19.
Right?
This, like we're looking at these comments and these, like you said, you get on and this kind of supports you emotionally. Because I know for me, it helps me tremendously. It's just, I love it.
Well,
Yeah,
truly, when you get sick, it doesn't matter whether it's a stroke, I think, just in my opinion. But if when there's some kind of, there's illness in a family, that family, the whole thing changes, and
yes,
truly not everybody around you is, their life goes on. They have their own stuff. There isn't, you have to create individually your own support system.
yes.
You cannot depend on anybody else to do this for you.
No, you're right. And Melissa here, I'm reading this comment. Hearing everyone's stories helps me as a caregiver in many ways. I already knew a lot about strokes, but now or not how I can help. Sorry, Melissa, how I can help the survivor when they can't express it, which is true. Yeah.
When it's like the first way, like it's you first have, I mean, it's like for me, have you ever heard of David Grant?
Sorry.
Okay.
I
He is somebody who writes Hope magazine. He's a TBI survivor, and he, I think, was in a bicycle accident, head injury, and he writes, and he's now speaking
Wow.
and doing events and, and he did a small clip of what it is like for what a normal person sees, or he focused on children, autistic children.
Yep.
And so they see lights flickering.
Yep.
You have peripheral vision that's moving.
Whoa.
Okay.
It's real.
Things are on fire, and they're here, and they're here, and they're here. And so there's, you're just trying to maneuver your sight through the minefield.
Yeah.
You're not looking at anything else but the minefield no one else sees.
Love that. Yes.
With David Grant, he had this lovely clip of the difference between a normal vision and what a normal child would see, and what a child sees who's autistic.
Yes.
And how it is that there is, sounds. It's like you have super spider senses. Every senses are hyper intensified. So you hear all the white noise from your computer and fans, and grocery stores are a problem. I have found specific stores I can go to, and I only go to those. I avoid completely because it's just too much stimulus.
So completely understand. So, because with me, if there's, I'm already dreading right now. We have a neighbor that we're going to see, and everybody kind of isolates themselves during this, and see if I can get this out. But I'm already thinking of like the worst, and I shouldn't. Where am I going to sit? I look at his patio, and the chair, I can't get down in it because it's too small. So I don't want to be a burden, because I know Mike Peters up here said something about being a burden, and I totally understand. So that's how I feel. I'm already thinking the worst. And with the noises, there's going to be about few people there. So when there's different conversations going on, I get confused. I don't know which I'm going to listen to, and then I can't pay attention to any of them.
You have earplugs?
Then I won't hear anyone?
No, you'll still hear, but you can take it. That will tone down the white noise. It will help. Try.
Okay.
Just a foamy, earplug.
Yeah.
If I go to, if I'm in a gym,
Oh,
a restaurant, or, used to be in a restaurant.
right. Yeah, right.
Or a concert or anything kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's intense. There's mute. There's clapping. It's up close. It's far away. There's speakers everywhere. Earplugs. Or I'll cover my ears like this, or I'll wear something that it's like a bandana, and I'll wear it. It just cuts out a little bit, and then you won't worry about it so much, Jerry.
And I appreciate the point, because you learn something from, like I learned from you. I mean, we learn from each other that have had strokes, or even the caregivers, because they know what they're going through, or what their survivors going through. And when I'm reading all your information that you wrote, and by the way, your handwriting is beautiful. And for me, it's I can't even. I mean, I can write, but you wouldn't be able to read it. But when I read your some of your quotes on there, you're a survivor, you're a mom, you're this, and the conversation piece that got me, because I understand that. The don't talk to me, because there was something in that saying. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. I have a really hard time with written letters, like texting. I mean, you have to texting at all, or if it gets too long, it's conversation. It's small talk. It's, the other person, small talk and conversation goes very fast. I'm 10 times slower than anybody else. Doesn't seem like that, because I talk really fast. Always have talker. I blather. So, yeah, and now I've forgotten. Please kind of.
The one part I understand, trust me. But you said don't text me
Yeah,
because I
don't.
can't have a conversation or something.
No. And you know, I have to I have to I can have so many conversations. And I don't know exactly how many I can have. Some days are better than others. Depends on how much sleep I get.
Yeah.
Like this. Um, but yeah, the message "don't text or talk" was I wanted to be able to I wanted to be able to concentrate on this
Right.
and this and talking right here and being present right now. And if there's a lot of texting or words or things that I have to look at the same time, we wouldn't be able to do this.
So yeah, totally understand. Now I'm bringing up comments here. Salute says David Grant, TBI Hope Magazine,
Yes,
book by David Grant and Sarah Grant.
yes, yes.
That's it.
He is my very first person on the LinkedIn that I connected with. I follow. I read his thing. I read his information. Um, he really understands.
Wow.
He really understands. And
Wow.
when you get enough people around you who understand what is happening to you, why it is you cannot perform to the level that everyone thinks you should,
Right.
but that you are functioning at the toppest level at this moment.
Right.
I guess what I want to say. Everyone
Right.
has put
Yes.
what it is that I look like or it feels like, but this is the best in 10 years.
Yeah. Good to hear. I'm so happy for you because I'm glad because I know we've tried to, I've reached out, we've reached out to each other and talked, but at the time I completely understand you weren't ready, and that's understandable.
I tried, but there's so much to put together and think about.
Yeah.
I really tried not to overthink it. I'm really trying to just go with the flow.
Right.
I'm a planner to a fault. I like to know where am I going to sit, how many people are going to be there, what is it going to look like, when can I leave, how is it that I'm going to, what happens if there's this, what happens if there's this. You have to, and you just sometimes have to go put it aside and go.
Yeah. I completely understand that because what you're saying, I feel like I'm relating about the next door neighbor on Friday. I tend to overthink it myself, thinking, oh boy, how am I going to get in the car? Or how am I going to get all these little things? And I should just go with the flow. But for me, I don't know if it's the right saying, it's easier said than done.
It is, because you will forget your glasses, you will forget your keys, you will forget your phone, you will forget your shoes. Where did my purse go? You see my phone? I don't know. I have like 3 pairs of glasses. At sometimes I don't have any of them, and I go anywhere without glasses.
Yeah, I understand.
And
I,
and a little bit, and
yeah.
it's hard. It's hard, Jerry.
Hey, we're it's funny. Not, I don't know, it's not funny, but we understand. Everybody understands each other in this community, and that's what I love about this because they understand, and we all. I mean, I was talking to Serena yesterday, and she was going to the dentist, and you can't. They don't allow like your spouse or anybody in because of this code. So she's saying, well, she may when she gets into the chair, and I completely relate that she might slide off the other side, just get in. So we joke
Right?
around.
What if? What if?
Right.
Anxiety. What if? What if? What if? Well, what if? What? What
But
happened?
yeah, and you're doing great. I mean, we're
Thank you.
having a conversation, and
We
it's
are having a conversation.
right. And I'm not trying to pull the um, like pulling these comments up and trying to interrupt or anything. I just because I know what you're saying about what do you call it? I start talking, then I completely forget. But Salute again says Jerry Wald, go with the flow.
Go.
True.
Oh, yeah. And if my husband was here, he'd roll his eyes at me right now because I really have a hard time going with the flow. I'm talking a big game. But, I'm talking to myself as I'm giving advice to you, Jerry.
Yeah. And now this is married Kay. You're into now?
Yes. Well, and that's a fun story too. That particular business has structure. You have people. You have a unit to be accountable to. You have a director to be accountable to. You have to listen to motivational speakers. I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to. I choose to because it's part of my recovery.
Yes.
And what I have done over the last 2 years is um, I had to practice. Well, I had to learn product. I had to learn how to do talk and do a facial at the same time. I had to do my own face first in order to do it. And, I have a wonderful director who gives me um, boundaries and goals and is available. I have a wonderful team of friends and colleagues. And it just has given me a boost,
Good.
given me a real boost.
Good to hear that.
Yes.
And I brought up the pink Cadillac unit right there.
Yes.
That picture of it. And
Yes.
so, and you also like talked about because I looked at some of the pictures that you sent as far as you, your husband, and the vacation you used to take, or
Yes. We recently celebrated our 32nd wedding anniversary.
wow,
And we went camping in a tent.
wow,
And I did that
you got on the ground.
on on a blow up bed, but we had to set up camp, and we had to, that was quite a thing.
Yeah,
Just he and I, and we managed. I made a list. I mean, there was all kinds of components to taking a trip,
yeah,
and so we went for 5 days. Very private area. Took our kids there over the years, past 20 years. Beautiful area. It's completely off grid, so there's no Wi-Fi.
nice.
There's nothing. It's you and the water and nature and the birds. Very therapeutic.
Yes, good for you.
So yes, that was a great trip.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I had a picture of not where I just brought up you and your husband smiling. It's actually still there. Do you see it there? It's probably
My husband's name is Todd.
Todd.
Yes, and I
Yes.
have a daughter named Angela. I have a daughter named Amanda. I have a son named Aaron, and I have a stepson named Alan.
Alan. Okay, so four.
Yes, and I am the youngest of 6 children.
Wow.
My parents um, were missionaries,
Nice.
and so I was raised in a missionary family. Um, Very strict upbringing, very structured. So I have a lot of that background,
Right.
as a foundation, as a base. So yeah, pray a lot, pray a lot. I listen to worship songs um, in the morning, and that seems to help me with my day. I'm trying to do things that are uplifting and positive. And
Good for you. That and you also said that you where you live in Washington, where you live is summer starts in July. Otherwise, it's pretty much snow country.
we are in snow country. It's cold here. We're in the mountains. Um, we have 3 or 4 ski areas that are within about an hour away. There's snowmobiling, year-round recreation. The population about a little over 2,000 people in this town. Small,
Oh, good.
and I live right in the center.
Wow, everybody knows everybody. I bet.
Everybody knows everybody, and of course, we've lived here for 28 years, 4 kids and career and all of that. Everybody knows me. Not
Yeah.
not everybody knows me, but there was a time when I was known. I've been out of the picture for a decade.
Yeah. 10 years.
So
That's right. Now, do you take any meds?
I do, I do. I take clonazepam, and I used to take a bag of meds, and now a bag of meds. it's a Ziploc, and I carried all my meds in it. I was on statins. I've been on antidepressants. But we've been weaning with my doctor's help. I have a very good doctor, and she and I put a program together, and so I've been, what's the term? Tapering down.
Yeah, weaning yourself off it.
From, let's see, I'm trying to think of how many milligrams a day. I take a half a milligram, 1 pill a day.
Wow, that's true.
And that's it.
Wow, I've been trying to talk to my doctor. Well, actually, I really haven't. I'm talking to my wife because I take a lot. I take 3,000 milligrams of Keppra and 400 milligrams of Vimpat just for seizure medicine. But I want to get weaned off that too, because this is all, I still shake because of all this medication I take.
Yeah. There's, I don't know. There's so many side effects to medication. You don't know what is your condition and what is side effects from medication, and it all blends together. Your personality has changed. It just is, I don't know. It just is worse, I think. And I was at dangerous levels of because 10 years ago, we didn't necessarily have an opioid problem.
Right.
So medicine was prescribed differently when I first had my stroke. And by the time we were through, it was like, no, they wanted me down from the levels I was to manageable, undangerous levels, which I am. That took 3 years. Wow. I had the 45-day detox, worse than anything you can imagine. Do it in 45 days or take 3 years.
Wow.
Paper off. And I did the 3-year plan.
But how did it affect you during the, as far as the weaning off? Did you have any seizure or whatever the
Oh, well, I went down half a milligram at a time, 6 months at a time. And my head, as I described it, I can feel whatever. I can feel it's like it moves. Things move. Wow. I can feel that.
And that's a result of weaning.
I can, there's a tightness. There is a tightness that I can feel. There's trouble breathing.
Really?
It's like a panic feeling, and it's all up in here, and and then it's like, okay, because sometimes I will not take my meds because I'd really like to be without them, and it's like, oh yeah, not yet, nope. It has to. It keeps me from having seizures.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to read one comment, not to take away from it, but Melissa says, I love that this group averages 10 years as survivors and doing great. Still learning and evolving. Doctor gave me such low numbers. It's a lot about how the medical field needs to continually advance and learn as well.
Yes.
That's right. I agree, Melissa.
The aphasia is not just, it's not the inability to talk, because I never lost really an ability for my mouth to say words and speak.
Yeah.
It was whatever it was. I had word salad, if you know what that means. I had just, none of my sentences came out. Sentences have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Your sentences start with the end, and then middle, and then the beginning goes in the end, and if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And your words, you say it, a glitch, and you tool, rule, all those different.
I completely understand, because sometimes I'm talking to my wife, and I thought I said exactly how to say it, and I thought it was right for me, but she goes, what? I don't, so I have to repeat myself trying to get it in the correct way. I need to say it the right way. put all the
Yeah.
words in the, as you know, the correct direction that I need to talk. But you, like you just said, you don't lose the intellect. We may say it totally not saying it right, but we haven't lost the intellect. My wife thinks I have, but
I doubt that.
no, not at all. So I'm so glad we were able to do this, and some of those there's some of these. I mean, there's so many comments, and after you could probably go through them and see all that. But I really, really appreciate that you're willing to be on this show. It really means a lot to me. So, what would you say to somebody out there that's, because I've seen talk to so many stroke survivors, brain injuries, and they're like stuck in they're isolated and they feel so down. What can you do, or what would you tell them? To
What I did truly with a lot of that is I found I binge watched them. I watched comedies and comedians.
right?
Find ways to laugh. That brings different chemicals into your brain and will help with some of that. You have to do something.
Yeah.
If you're right, okay, I'm going to try. You have to try. Try it. That doesn't work. You try something else. That doesn't work. You try something else. You just don't ever stop. It doesn't ever. And I guess I would say just don't give up. Don't listen to people around you. You know how you feel, and just push through. You can push through. This right here is a support group, and this Jerry and all of his friends are going to help you get through.
And you as well. And I can't remember, but yeah, but I'm so proud of you, and
Thank you.
talking so well. I mean, I know you hesitated for a long time because you thought you didn't talk well. I can't imagine. You've just been working on this on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
It's evident.
The mirror.
Yeah.
It's in the mirror.
Wow. Yeah, because so many people out here put notes, like Lynette puts red lipstick as reminders somewhere, like on mirrors, just to remind that she doesn't forget.
I have posted. I have goals posted. That's part of why I'm doing the business I'm in, because that's what you write goals on your mirror. You do that. Yeah. You put them on your refrigerator. You give yourself affirmations over and over and over again. And after you do that for 2 years, it will change your life. So
yeah. And ending comments. Lynn here says, "Thanks, Teresa. Good interview."
Thank you.
Yep. And Deb says, "Great story." And Mike says, "Thanks so much." There's so many more. I wish I could read them all, but we can go through them. But really, this has been an honor for me to have you on and, telling your story, because it's been a long time. So really happy that you made the decision to come on.
Me too.
Yeah. So
wasn't so bad.
no, nothing. You did absolutely wonderful. And it's so glad. We'll be definitely staying in touch, and you're in this community, so we need to get all communicating with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I always saying, life is a gift, make it count.
You got it.
So thank you all for being here. You could stay on right here, but everybody